this design, this design, this design is the same. So some of them I did multiples just so that there's like a little bit consistency in the scarf. First thing is I'm going to grab the yarn that I'm going to be using first. I'm using a 5.0 millimeter crochet hook for this. Depending on what the package says on your yarn ball, that's what you could use. It requires me to use a 5.5, but I can't find my 5.5 right now. So how we're going to do this, it may look a little complicated at first, but once you learn this, it is so helpful because then you can really start making circles, bucket hats, anything like that. So you're going to wrap the yarn around your finger here, and then you're going to wrap it again and wrap it behind there, and then you're just going to hold it like so. Take your crochet hook and go under that first loop, and then turn your hook and pull the second loop forward. And then what you're going to do is you're going to kind of rotate it. So there's the loop. You're going to kind of rotate it, grab the long string that is attached to your yarn ball, and you're just going to pull it through that loop. Okay? And then now it's going to be a bit different. You're going to go under here, under there. Once we're under there, you're going to grab the yarn, the long string of the yarn, you're going to pull that back through so that you have two loops, and then you're going to wrap the yarn around your hook and you're going to pull through, and that counts as your first stitch. And we need to do 8 of these because we're going to start by making a flower. So then we're going to repeat that same step. So you're going to go underneath this circle here, you're going to grab that yarn and bring it forward. You're going to have 2 right there. You're going to kind of do a little twist to get the yarn back, and then you're going to pull it through the 2. And there we have 1 and our second stitch. Okay, so now we're going to go again under there, grab that yarn, pull it forward, see that we have 2. We're going to wrap around and we're going to pull through there. So now I have 3, and I'm just going to continue till I have my 8 and 8. Okay, and then I can remove my finger once I have made my 8, and I'm going to pull with the shortest end of the yarn. I'm just going to pull that like so that it gets tightened. I'm going to go underneath those 2 stitches on the other side. Then I'm going to wrap the yarn around my hook, and I'm going to pull through those 2, and then I have it here, and I'm going to pull through that 1, and there we have our circle. Okay, so now that we have our circle, I'm going to start by making kind of like a flower by doing 2 petals in one spot. So basically what I do now is I wrap the yarn around my hook and I pull through 1. Okay, and then I'm going to wrap the yarn around my hook again, and I'm going to go into this spot right here. So right underneath where we are, I'm going to put my crochet hook through. I'm going to bring the yarn back up with me. So now I have 3 loops on my crochet hook. I'm going to wrap the yarn around, and I'm going to pull through 2 because I'm choosing to do double crochet stitches, and I'm going to wrap my yarn around again, and I'm going to pull through 2. And now we're going into the next spot right there. Okay, and we're doing 2 in here. So you're going to go underneath those loops, bring that yarn back, you're going to wrap around, and you're going to pull through 2, and then you're going to wrap around and you're going to pull through 2. Okay, and then we're doing that exact same thing in the same spot, and then now I am actually going to keep repeating that. So wrap around, go into the next spot, and I'm going to do 2. And they act as like the petal of the flower, right? So once we move on, you'll see that the 2 stitches will really be emphasized. Okay, so now I have basically completed my circle, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take where I am, so I've done my last 2, and I'm going to go 2 chains there we go, right? Those 2 top, I'm going to wrap the yarn around my crochet hook, and I'm going to pull it through. Okay, and now that I'm at this point where I have 2 loops on my crochet hook, now is the time where if I want to change it to a color, this is the time I should do it. I'm going to place this at the back. So I'm going to have this yarn in my left hand. I'm going to grab what I'm working on. I'm going to kind of put the yarn on my hook, and I'm just going to pull it through those 2 loops, just like so. And that kind of secures it. And in my left hand, I have the long string of yarn that is attached to my yarn ball, and that's going to be what I'm going to be using moving onward. And you can see at the back, if I need to pull the orange string a bit just to tighten it, I can do that, and as well as the pink. Okay, what I'm going to do from here, I'm going to wrap my yarn around my crochet hook, and I'm going to pull through 1 just to get it a bit higher. And this is starting the pattern of what we're going to be doing for the next 3 rows. So once I wrap the yarn around my crochet hook, I'm going to go into the same spot. So as close as I am, I'm going to go into there. I'm not going to grab the other ends of the yarn. I'm going to focus on the yarn that's attached to my yarn ball. I'm going to bring that forward. I have 3 loops on my crochet hook now. I'm going to wrap around. I'm going to pull through 2. And then I'm going to wrap around, and I'm going to pull through 2. Okay? What I'm doing and what the pattern is that I'm showing you today is we are starting from this point. So once we have just made that stitch, we're going to do 3 stitches into one area, and then we're going to jump 2 and do 6 stitches in one area, and then we're going to jump 2 and do 3 stitches in one area. Okay, so I'm going to wrap the yarn around my hook, and I'm going to go under, like fully under there, and I'm going to bring that yarn forward. I'm going to wrap around, pull 2, wrap around, pull 2, and then I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to do that 2 more times. Wrap around, pull 2, wrap around, pull 2, and I'm going to do it a third. Wrap around, go in, pull 2, pull 2. Okay, so now it kind of will look like this for you. And after I've done my 3, I'm going to be jumping 2, so 1, 2, and I'm going to be going into this area here. I'm going to wrap the yarn around my hook. I'm going to go fully under there, and I'm going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to be doing 6, and that is also because by doing 6 at the corner is like we are making a square, and then 6. Okay, so now that we have that going for us, we're going to jump 2 again, 1, 1, 2, and we're going to go right all under there. So you're going to wrap around your hook and literally go through that loop, bring it forward, wrap around, pull 2, wrap around, pull 2, and then you're going to do 2 more, and then we're going to jump another 2, and then we're going to wrap around, and we're going through 2. Last one for this row. At this point, I usually only do 5 stitches instead of 6, because when we first started, we did that extra 1, right? So if we do 5 here and attach it, then that will technically be 6. But if I do 6 now, and I also had that 1 when we first did it, that'd be 7, and it might be a little off. So that's what I do. I wrap. So I'm going to wrap the yarn around my hook. I'm going to skip 2, and I'm just going to do 5. Now that I have that done, you can see that there's like a small chain here and a chain here and then 1 here. I usually skip this one, and I kind of go to the 3rd one. Okay, I put my yarn around my hook and I bring that forward, and then I'm off with 2. Okay, and now you know that once there's 2 loops on the crochet hook, you can decide if you want to change the color. So for me, I do want to change the color, and I want to go back to this color. I'm just going to cut off the orange from what I previously had, and then I'm going to wrap it on my hook, kind of hold it if I need to, and I'm just going to pull it through those 2 loops, and now I'm back with my orange color. And then I'm going to wrap around and make this loop, we're going to go into the nearest spot again because we always want to create that first one loop. Wrap around, pull two, wrap around, pull two, just like so, the closest to us. And then we see that we have 1, 2, 3. So we're going to kind of wiggle our spot in there, wrap around our hook, and we're going to go into there, and we're doing 3 stitches. And then now we're going to jump 3 because we just did 3, wrap around our hook, and we're going to go right in through there, and we're going to do 3. The first row we only did 1 of 3, and then this row we're doing 2 of 3. And when we get to the ones that are 6, we're just going to go in the middle of each 3. So there's 3 and 3 there. I'm going to go in the middle, right like so. And I'm just going to go right in the middle of those 3, as you can see. And I'm just going to do my 6. So 1. I'm going to go in between here, and then in between the 3. And you just repeat what's going on. So repeat what we just did all around. And then once you're done, I'll meet you when we're about to attach. Alright, so now that I have completed my second row, I have 2 loops on my crochet hook, so I'm ready to bring in my other color. Wrap around like so, hold it, and bring it through. I'm going to make my first loop again. And now this time we have 2, so now we're going to be doing 3. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, and in there. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to wrap my yarn around my crochet hook, and I'm going to go into my closest area. And then I'm going to wrap around, and right where I have 3, so 1, 2, 3, I'm going to go right into there, 2, and the third. And then I'm going to wrap over, and I'm going to go in the middle of my other 3. And it's the same pattern that we have really been doing. And that's the third, okay? And then now we're also going to just continue doing the same thing. So you go through here, you skip 3, and you go right in the middle. So now that I have done 6, you're just going to complete doing the same thing all the way around. So you're going to go in through here, you're going to go in through there, you're going to go in through here, and then you're going to go in the middle of these 3, and then continue it all the way around until we meet at the beginning again. And then this will be your first granny square that is ready for your scarf. And for me, it is about my 10th one, but for this scarf you're gonna probably want to do about 10, and then I'll show you guys how to attach it. Okay, so just continue going around like you have been, and I'll catch you guys when it's time to attach all of our granny squares. Super cute and super nice. I have to attach these 2 sides. So what I'm going to be doing is, since this is the nice side, I'm going to flip it so that we see all the raw edges, and then I'm going to align the nice side with the nice side. Now, how I have been doing it is where I cut it off to end it when each square was done. This string I'm attaching to the side where I am attaching it, so that it is right there, if that makes sense, okay? And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to feed my crochet hook through the one side and out through the other, just like so. And then I'm going to put the yarn on top of my crochet hook and kind of hold it back so that I can pull that towards all of that, okay? So that I can pull that through. And then I'm going to take the string that is connected to my yarn ball, I'm going to wrap it around my crochet hook, and I'm just going to pull through. And then I can pull the end, and it will be super tight and secure. So now what I'm going to be doing, and I think if you guys have watched some other of my tutorials, you've seen me do this, but I'm just going to be weaving it through. So I'm going to be going through those 2 chains, and then through those 2 chains, wrapping the yarn around my hook, bringing that yarn through it all, wrapping around, and pulling through the 2. Okay, so I'll show you guys again. I'm going through the top of those 2 loops, and then I'm going right across to those other 2 loops. I'm grabbing that yarn, I'm pulling that forward, I'm wrapping it around, and I'm pulling through too. And then you can pull it and it will be super nice and secure. And I'm just going to continue to do that on the top. So going through there, going through here, wrap around, pull through, wrap around, pull there. Okay? Straight as possible, just like so. And that should be enough without it being curvy. And then I just like to turn it around and just kind of feed back into where we just were, just so that I can tie it off. Just so that I can tie it off. Pull, and here, and pull. And then I'll pull this. I'll grab my scissors. This off, so that's done. And then I'm just going to pull this through, and there we have it. So then when you open it, it is fully, strongly attached, right? And there we have it. So then that makes you able to have a full scarf. And then, since you're probably going to have a lot of loose ends like me if you switched colors, if you did this all in one color, you shouldn't have that many. But if you have a lot of these, you're just going to want to make sure that you kind of like tie some pieces together, and then you can just cut it. I kind of go like this, and then I wrap it around into a loop kind of, and I pull it really tightly, and then I cut it. There we have it.